props up her niece's family.
I wouldn't say it was a loan, ma'am.
It was a loan. You paid part of it back.
Until she was in need herself.
Your Honor, she changed her attitude when she lost her job.
When she lost her job, she needed money.
We've done stuff for her also, not monetary, though.
Like what? Did you give her blood? Did you give her a kidney?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Susan Griffith is suing her niece, Melanie Heyer, and Melanie's husband, Chris, for an unpaid loan, property damage, and locksmith fees.
Order. All rise. It's case number 230 on the calendar in the matter of Griffin versus Heyer.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Griffin, this young woman is your niece.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are her husband?
Yes, ma'am.
You have 4 children.
Correct.
And you've been living in your aunt's house, renting it from her for many years. How many?
8 years, ma'am.
And it is your claim that, A, when they moved out, they trashed the house, and a balance of a loan that you made because Mr. could afford it. You paid for the work. They agreed to pay you back, and the original loan was $5,100. Is that right?
I wouldn't say it was a loan, ma'am, but the original amount, $5,100.
It was a loan. You paid part of it back. Don't be ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am, we paid part of it back just when we had money to do it.
Just to me.
Just because it was the right thing to do.
You don't pay it back because it's the right thing to do. You pay it back because it was a loan.
Thank you.
You're stupid. I just asked you a question. The original loan was $5,100.
Yes.
And how much did you pay back?
How much was it? Around $3,000.
Not around.
I believe it was $2,900 to $3,000.
How much did you pay back?
About $3,200, Your Honor.
Not a pound.
How much did they pay back?
They've paid me $2,200 so far, Your Honor.
May I see proof? Do you have proof of how much you paid?
I created a little spreadsheet on my, this is my evidence. I have a spreadsheet on my phone of each month that they paid me.
No, we didn't bring evidence of what we paid, ma'am, because it wasn't a loan, so...
She helped us. She was like a mother to me. She helped us in a time of need.
Don't be stupid.
It's
Don't
naive.
say anything that's stupid.
I was naive.
You have children. You have
Yes.
children. She's not your mother.
Well, it's not the first time she's done something like that either. In that amount, yes, ma'am.
Then turn around. Listen.
I'm listening.
Mr. Not related to her, really. Then you turn around, if that's not the first time she did it to her, and you say, thank you. We're sorry that you gave us so that I could have a truck. So you turn around and you say, thank you for not only that, but for all the other things that you did, because I'm not related to you at all.
Well, we've done stuff for her also, not monetary, though.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Like what? Did you give her blood? Did you give her a kidney? What did you do for her?
I've done yard work for her. I've done upkeep on her house, on the house that she's rented for us, that she bought for us. I've done, numerous things, ma'am. My wife's took her to, family business that's been family.
We're very close.
Your Honor, we were close until I loaned money.
Listen to me. I got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your Honor, she changed her attitude when she lost her job.
Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. If when she had money from a job, right? By the way, where do you work?
I'm a stay-at-home mother.
So the answer is when she lost her job, she needed money.
And Your Honor,
when she lost her job, she needed money. There's nothing wrong with that. So she stopped helping you. And she said, now you have to pay me back what I've been giving you. What is wrong with that? Instead of excuses, where do you work?
I work for a marine construction company.
Are you a full-time employee?
Absolutely.
Good. How much do you earn? What do you mean probably around? You get overtime?
Yes, ma'am. It's different every week. And I do scale jobs.
What's the least amount that you make every 2 weeks?
$1,400.
And what's the most amount you make every 2 weeks?
Made upwards of $2,600 every 2 weeks.
And how much was she charging you to rent this house?
$1,500 a month, Your Honor.
How many bedrooms is it?
4.
Did you move into another place after you left her house?
Yes.
Tell me where you moved to.
It was a house down the road just a little bit, in the same neighborhood for our children to go to the same school and all.
Great. How many bedrooms?
3 with 1 bathroom, quite considerable amount smaller.
We didn't have much time to get out.
How much is your rent?
We're not at that place any longer. At that place... Oh.
You moved out, you moved down the street to a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, considerably smaller. What was the rent?
$1,650.
$1,650. How long did you stay there?
2 months.
Did you pay the rent?
Yes.
How much?
$1,650 a month, Your Honor, plus the deposit.
Well, the first
Did you lose the deposit?
No, we got everything back.
Great.
from that
And where
residence.
did you move? And where did you move from there?
Same neighborhood, just down another road.
Are you still in that residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that house. How many bedrooms?
3 bedrooms,
How many baths?
2.5,
What is your rent?
$1,650 again.
So also a much smaller house.
Yes.
Smaller house. So
Well,
she-
about the same size, just different layout, the way the rooms are laid out.
Okay. For a 4-bedroom house.
When we moved in 8 years ago.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Okay.
Just a second. Did she raise the rent from 8 years ago?
No.
No. So your new landlord is charging you $150 more for rent for a house that's smaller.
Yes.
So she wasn't overcharging you the rent.
No.
And over the years, the $1,500, she didn't raise that rent.
No.
There came a time, however, when she said, I want to raise your rent $50.
It did come a time.
There did come a time. And it was after that that you moved out.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry.
When did they stop repaying the loan for the car, for the
The
truck?
last payment I received was in June.
June of this year.
June of this year, yes.
And when did they move out?
They moved December 1st of last year.
Who is living in your house now?
I'm living in the house. The home I lived in, I had it up for sale. That was why I had given them notice that they needed to move, because I planned on moving into that property.
Did you first tell them that you were going to increase their rent?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I told them I was going to raise it by $50, and they told me absolutely not.
Okay, fine. So they owe you the $2,900. You're living there now.
Yes, I am.
Now, what kind of property damage are you alleging?
I do have some pictures.
Well, I would like you to tell me.
Okay, well, when I received the keys back in the middle of the night, stuck in my
We're talking about
mailbox.
December.
Yes.
We're talking about almost a year ago. What took you so long to get here? If there was a loan, because they made a last payment on the loan in June. But if they moved out in December, January, February, March, April, and May, if they did damage to the house, why are we?
I was afraid they wouldn't give me any money at all.
Well, that's not a good enough reason.
Well,
okay, $2,900. That's what you get. Now, let's start with your counterclaim, which is a little bit of nonsense. You want money owed for return of 1 month's rent, appliance, and for keeping mail resulting in fines. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's start with 1 month's rent. The 1 month's rent you claim you paid is for what month?
It would be the first month we moved in from May of 2009.
Forget it. What about the appliance?
We replaced the stainless steel range twice.
No. I'm sorry, ma'am. We replaced the microwave over the stove
I said it wrong.
microwave. We replaced the washing machine twice and the dryer once.
Very good. You have 4 children.
Yes, ma'am.
Good for you. What's next? And for keeping mail resulting in fines. In what month did she keep the mail?
Not sure when she received it, but we never...
Actually, wait a minute. Ma'am, when we were moving, we turned the keys in December 1st. We had
December
something...
the 9th, I received the keys.
When you do a change of mail, you know, it takes a few weeks for the mail to start everything flowing in. We had moved down the street, still less than a mile from her home. I have it for 3 weeks ago, so I don't have the paperwork on these violations because I had no idea they existed. I asked the police officer why I'm being pulled over. He told me you have a flag.
Listen to me.
And it was sent to...
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a problem with the post office, you have a problem with the post office. Did you do anything with mail that they got?
Any mail that came to my residence that had their name on it or other people that lived in the home with them, I wrote on there, not at this address, and put it back in the mailbox.
Okay.
That's exactly what I did.
Fine. Who else lived in the house with them?
She had her sister's husband, and their child living. There was 9 of them living at that house for several months at many times.
Okay.
He brought his niece up from Tennessee to live during the summers.
Okay. They owe you $2,900 balance of the loan. Thank you very much. We're finished.
Ladies are excused. You may step out.
I'm glad she found in favor for them to repay the loan.
I think it's ridiculous.
She would only answer by text when she felt like it.
It's over. I never want to speak or see her again.
It's very hard to help someone out who's not appreciative.
It's very heartbreaking, but all I want is to be done.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pena versus Venegas. Step forward.
Nichelle Pena is suing fellow dog owner Jason Venegas for vet bills due to a dog attack.
Why don't you give this gentleman your dog? Bit your Yorkie.
Yes.
And you want him to be responsible for the vet bills. Mr. Venegas says that you were in a dog park. All the dogs were unleashed. Is that correct so far?
Correct.
That you threw a ball to the Yorkie. So far correct?
Yes.
That his huskies came over to play with the Yorkie. And let me go back to what words you used. The plaintiff's dog started barking at my dogs, displaying aggressive ball possession behavior.
Correct.
What is that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What did you do?
I ran towards him.
We didn't lose the case, did we?
I've had Yorkies. Certainly isn't intimidated by surroundings.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Nichelle Pena says a husky owned by Jason Venegas attacked her Yorkie at a dog park.
Now, the plaintiff's dog started barking at my dogs, displaying aggressive ball possession behavior.
Correct.
What is that?
So when they're possessive over a toy, you know, they're gonna aggressively either bark or do some kind of, you know.
So they went over to play with her with the ball.
Yeah, because they met at the ball.
Just a second. Where her dog was.
Yes.
And she was barking at them.
Yes.
Not to touch her ball.
Correct.
Okay, got it. And?
And as my dog named Coco tried to play with it, the dogs started, you know, being more aggressive.
And what is more aggressive? The dog started to bark.
Started being a growl. So when they started growling towards my dog started playing with her. As she's playing with her...
And now you're watching all of this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
From how far away are you watching all of this?
About 10, 15 yards.
Well, that's a long way to be away from your dog, 10 or 15 yards.
No, because I was in the general area and my dogs were already playing with the big dogs.
10 or 15 yards is a far distance to have two big dogs out of your command control.
What is 10 or 15 yards?
You want to show me some place in the room where you were?
From that wall to that wall, that's what I'm thinking about.
You mean this wall?
This wall, yes, ma'am.
To that wall?
Yes, ma'am.
And maybe 20 feet.
Okay, so I miscalculated.
So you were 20 feet away?
Yes.
When you saw your two big dogs going over to the little...
One dog only.
One. So one husky went over.
Yes.
But you have two.
Yes.
And both of them were with you that day.
Yes.
So only one of them ran over to play with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Don't
yes.
say uh-huh. And you were 20 feet away. Did your dog obey to come back?
She looked back at me.
Did she come back?
No.
Okay. So what did you do?
I ran towards my dog.
We didn't lose the case, did we? Say hi. I think we're okay.
You think we're okay? Yeah. I've had Yorkies. Certainly isn't intimidated by surroundings. Okay, so you called your dog back. Dog did not come back. And you started to go over to where your dog was? How fast were you going
I got
over?
there just about enough to where my dog played with her, and I was able...
The dog more than played with her.
Right.
The Yorkie was severely injured.
Was he?
Yes.
Okay.
You see these vet bills?
See, when I got to my dog...
That's going to show me that the dog was severely injured.
When I got to my dog, I got a harness for my dogs. I was able to put my dog on the leash right away. At that moment, the individual sitting over there with the dog came running at the dog super fast. You can imagine a baseball player trying to steal second base, and he threw himself at the dog, where the dog cried even more further out more.
That didn't happen.
At the moment, the lady here, she was walking.
She wasn't near the Yorkie at all?
No.
How far was she away from the Yorkie?
About the same distance, give or
About
take.
20 feet?
Yes.
So you were both 20 feet away? Right. I want to see the vet bills and the vet's reports. The dog is a scrapper. The dog is a scrapper. Cute, but a scrapper.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I mean, I saw your little Yorkie, who was a scrappy little Yorkie. So if I had that kind of situation, would I take my little dog that has no fear? Because everybody's afraid to come here, except Bird and me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Nichelle Pena says a husky owned by Jason Venegas attacked her Yorkie at a dog park.
Okay. Well, the dog had a puncture wound, sir, and that is not a result of somebody falling on the dog, as you suggest. Mm-hmm. The dog, in addition to having to the chest that fractured several ribs.
That's from landing on the body on it.
Could be, but he didn't bite the dog. and an incision was made adjacent to the puncture wound. This is all the evidence that you have for me?
No, I have pictures of the park. I have pictures of her.
I know,
after
I don't want to see
surgery.
pictures of the park.
I have statements of a separate witness, and I have the police report.
I'm going to take a look at the police report. Okay, your first name is?
First name is Jason.
Jason, you told the police that your dog was playing catch.
I believe the animal
I'm telling you what the police report says. And the Yorkie had gone towards the ball. I think he sort of got it wrong. But Jason said the Yorkie had gone to play towards the ball and his dog bit it. And the dog was bit. The only question that I have is there a small dog park?
There is.
That's either yes or a no.
There's a small dog area.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know whether he's responsible for the injuries to your dog. I think that there is a certain assumption of risk that you have when you take a dog to a dog park off leash, a place where owners are responsible to keep their dogs tethered within a certain space, because I want my dogs to play. And therefore, the owners will not have control over their dogs that they are required to have when they're walking them with a leash. I especially don't think that the defendant is responsible because there is a separate area for small dogs. And the kind of trauma that your dog experienced, which perhaps was in part inflicted by Jason's dog and perhaps in part inflicted when the dog was trying to be protected by Mr. Pena. I don't know. And you don't have an expert here, and your medical records don't indicate that. Your medical records indicate that there was severe trauma to the chest, that there were broken ribs. All of those things could have come about by Mr. Pena falling on the dog.
I didn't fall on the dog. That did not happen.
Just a second. I don't know, but I don't have an expert here to tell me that. Even if I did, I would tell you that I think that you have a responsibility, that if you want to keep your little dog safe, and that little dog is spirited, you keep your dog in a small dog park. I have 3 small dogs. I would not take my 3 small dogs into a large dog park, because I would feel as if my dog became involved in an aggressive, put your hand down, became involved in an aggressive situation with a smaller dog, either my dog chose to do that. I don't. But if you take your dog into an area for big and small dogs, you are assuming that there are going to be big dogs there.
This wasn't my first time taking her.
I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
If you take your dog into an area for big and small dogs, you are assuming that there are going to be big dogs there.
This wasn't my first time taking her.
I don't care.
There's also rules that say all dog owners are responsible for all injuries inflicted by their dog.
Do you have any reports of the defendant's dog being aggressive?
Yeah.
In the witness statement that...
No.
Okay.
Before this happened, do you have...
Yes, in the witness statement that...
No, I don't read witnesses' statements.
Okay, then no, I do not.
I mean, I saw your little Yorkie, who was a scrappy little Yorkie. Somebody walked in, one of my camera people walked in, and your dog started to bark and growl.
Yes.
So if I had that kind of situation, would I take my little dog, little scrappy dog, that has no fear, because everybody's afraid to come here, except Bird and me. Would I take my little dog to a dog park, a mixed place dog park? I would not. I don't think you're responsible, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We've been going there for 2 years. We never had an issue.
I believe that 90% of the wounds were inflicted by Paul.
They were not playing. She ran after her ball. His dog ran and chomped on her. That was it.
Follow the rules of the dog park. That's all you got to do.
I'm glad she's doing better, yes.
Small area, general area, you know, you got to be on your own risk.
Why would you advance her thousands of dollars in inventory?
Because I trusted her.
This clothing seller lost her shirt.
This is about you owing her money.
But I'm the one that's out doing all the work. I'm going from city to city.
Just a second. It doesn't matter.
Is her defense hanging by a thread?
He called me threatening me. She shows up at my workout studio. I don't owe anything.
I don't really care about your excuses.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cindy Gilmore is suing her former business partner, Chanel McDaniel, for the value of her pants inventory.
Order. All rise. This is case number 246. Judge Price has been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Gilmore, you are a small manufacturer, and you make a special kinds of pant that Miss McDaniel was interested in selling.
Correct.
The arrangement was that you would make the pants, give them to her on consignment, and as she sold them, she would pay you.
Correct.
How much were you charging her for each pair of pants?
For the adult, I was charging her $20, and for the kids, the 3 smaller sizes was $15, and the larger child size was $18.
And when did you start making the pants for her?
Basically, I actually import them and manufacture them from Thailand, and then I would bring them in, and then I started working.
So you don't make them?
I don't make them.
Okay. So you brought them in. When did you start to do business with her?
In August 2016. I met her at a farmer's market.
Okay. I don't care.
Okay.
You met her?
Yeah, she met me at the farmer's market, and she approached me with
Listen to me. I don't care.
Okay.
This is about you owing her money.
Yes.
Because you had a certain amount of inventory of hers that you didn't return to her, that you either sold or kept, and you didn't give her the money. That's what the case is about.
Yes.
So I don't care when you met. I don't care whether you had coffee or a latte. It is meaningless to me.
Exactly.
So in August of 2016, you started to do business together. And she gave her pants, she would pay you, and then your rent went up. She doesn't care about your rent going up. She doesn't care about your financial woes. She doesn't care about anything else. You took a certain amount of pants, and you didn't pay her for them.
Yeah, my rent not even going up.
Listen to me. I don't care what your money troubles are. You acknowledge that you took a certain amount of pants that you didn't pay her.
But I'm the one that's out doing all the work. I'm going from city to city.
Just a second. It doesn't matter. That was the business arrangement you have. She sold you pants. As you sold them, for whatever you sold them for, she got her money. 20 for adults, 15 for kids, and 18 for big kids.
But she was selling them to give me prices as a retail store, as M. Fredericks. I am not a corporate store.
Listen to me.
At all.
Then say adios, arrivederci. I don't want your product.
Well, I talked to her about that, but she knew I was moving more she knew I was moving more product than the stores were moving, Judge Judy. And she kept pushing more pants on me, more and more.
Miss McDaniel, you know how you're coming back to me? That suggests to me you're not a shrinking violet, which means that you shouldn't have taken property, sold it, and didn't pay for it, which is what we're here for. So I don't really care about your excuses. Someplace else.
Well, you know, I do care when it comes to my health, because I end up getting...
Just a second. Yeah. I don't care about your health.
Okay.
Not that I wish you ill.
I mean, no, but seriously,
listen to me. Not that I wish you
I'm
ill.
Serious.
You
I
ate
went through
the
a lot.
steak. You bought the product. You didn't pay for it. You have to pay for it. She doesn't care, nor do the courts, that you have a headache, a footache, that your rent went up, that you were running around trying to sell it and make a few bucks. Courts don't care about that. They care about you bought a product that you didn't pay for. Now, you returned some product because she had given you more product.
Because she, I mean, if I owed her any product, why would she keep giving me more and more product?
You acknowledge here in your answer that you owe her money.
No.
Yeah, okay. How much inventory did she take from you that she didn't pay for? And I don't owe her anything. And I'm not counting the pants that you say she returned by throwing them on your lawn, which your husband picked up. I'm not counting
No, because her
inventory.
cousin called me threatening me over the phone, so I was afraid to even go back into her house. He called me threatening me. She shows up at my workout studio.
She greedy.
Yeah.
That's all. It was no agreement.
Would you put her out?
Sure.
Yeah, kick me out because she...
Be quiet, Erica. Be quiet. Be quiet.
That's all. This is just all about is greed. She got greedy.
Be quiet.
Okay. When did you make a first shipment to her that she did not pay you for?
The first time I probably gave her pants where we had a balance owed, because sometimes what would happen is she would...
Shh. The first time I gave her pants when there was a balance owed was when?
June 2nd.
Of this year?
Of this year.
And what was the balance owed at that time?
Could I ask my husband to come up and help me with this? He does all my numbers, and I get really frazzled with numbers.
May I?
If you don't mind,
Listen,
if it's okay.
Okay. Here, this is not a comedy club.
Second, well, by the end of June, for she came fast, and by the end of June, she owed me a balance that she had on consignment was $4,112, what she had on consignment.
No.
She said owed.
No. That's not what I asked you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What I asked you was, when for the first time did you give her inventory at a time when she owed you money?
Gotcha. That would be on, I'm finding it, July 10th. I gave her more
Of
pants.
what year?
2017. And
So it wasn't
at that
June?
time she owed...
Shh. We're going to do this my way.
Yes.
Because these are the worst kind of cases. So it wasn't June 2nd. It was in July that you made the first delivery of merchandise to her when she had a balance.
Incorrect. It was June 2nd, 2017 is when she got more pants and had a balance.
And on June 2nd, what was the balance?
$916.
Well, so now my question to you is, you're in business. She owed you $916 on the 2nd of June. Why did you give her any more inventory?
Because I trusted that she would continue to pay. That was my choice. And I also felt that by her having the inventory for the amount that she sold them would give me a better odds
You wanted me
of
to
being
sell more
paid.
and more.
Shh. I don't want you to answer her.
Okay.
And she also had shows coming up, so she would come to me and say, hey, I have a big show. May I have some more pants?
If she had a balance,
correct,
which means that she sold the inventory and didn't give you the money.
Correct.
So why would you advance her other thousands of dollars in inventory?
Because I trusted her. Bottom line, I trusted her that she would pay me.
Now. So now, on June 2, 2016,
yes,
$916. Now you say she owes you just suing her for.
Correct.
$2,771, which means that if the last statement, which you sort of glossed over, and so did I, that she owed you $4,000 at some point was true, that means she paid you some money.
Correct.
When did she pay you money?
She paid me money on June 2nd. She paid me...
just a second.
Okay.
So on June 2nd, she paid you how much?
She paid me $600.
Now, after she paid you the $600, did that leave a balance of $916?
Correct.
Okay, so she paid you $600 on June 2nd, leaving a balance of $916. And how much in inventory did you give her on June 2nd?
In the month of June...
No, on June 2.
June 2nd, okay.
She made a $600 payment, and she made a $600 payment because she wanted more inventory. So how much inventory did you give her?
It was about 257 pairs of pants.
257. May I see that, please?
I can give you all that. I think that should be it on there.
Did she return any of those 257 pairs of pants to you?
She returned some of them, yes.
How many did she return?
Well, the way I did it is I did it all for June, and then I did what she returned in July, so I have what she owed from June to when she dropped them off on August 7th.
I'm not an accountant. The two of you can go outside and figure it out. We'll see you after lunch.
This case will be recalled.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm dealing with this. It's going to be over.
Okay.
Because if you keep giving her merchandise and she doesn't pay you for it, I'm not dealing with it. I asked
and she
you...
kept trying to get...
No. Attention.
And later today...
There were quite a few times he did try to tip me, and I said, no, this is part of the agreement, and he said I needed it more than he did. He was constantly trying to show his money off to all of us.
You're supposed to say thank you, not make excuses.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
In a case recall from earlier today, Cindy Gilmore says, former business partner Chanel McDaniel owes for the value of her pants inventory.
Come to order. Judge, this is a recall of case number 246 in the matter of Gilmore versus McDaniel. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
All right, have you folks come up with the accounting on this?
I did.
Okay. Miss McDaniel?
Yeah, I counted.
How many pairs of pants did you take and not pay for?
I have what she took.
Go ahead.
So from the June 2nd to July 10th.
Don't get me. I said how many pairs of pants?
349 pairs of pants.
Okay, and you have that broken down into adults, kids, correct number?
No.
What is the correct number?
It was like 95 pair. That's what I got. It wasn't 300-something pair, because that wouldn't add up to, for $20 a piece, that wouldn't add up to that amount.
Judge, from the 349 pairs of pants, she did make payments throughout June and July. That was a total of $2,416.
I get $1,000.
And then
I get $1,000.
You get $1,000?
Yeah. Correct. She said she didn't pay for 95 pairs of pants. At $20 a pair is $1,000.
Okay,
That's actually not an accurate statement. I'm John Gilmore. I'm her husband.
$1,900.
$1,900? Okay.
$1,900.
Well, she said I owed, which, like I said, I don't owe anything, okay, from everything that we talked about. And she, even after that, she kept still
I'm asking,
trying.
listen to me. I'm dealing with this.
Okay.
It's going to be over.
Okay.
Because,
I'm
listen
just
to
being
me,
honest
because,
with you.
because if you keep giving her merchandise and she doesn't pay you for it, I'm not dealing with it.
Yes.
I asked
and she
you.
kept trying to get
No. Attention.
Okay.
I asked you how many pairs of pants that you took that you didn't pay for. You said 95 pair altogether. 95 pair times 20 is $1,900. Just a second. That's what you said.
That's what I'm averaging now.
No, not averaging.
Okay.
I asked you how many pairs of pants. She said 349.
Yeah, that's way
Well,
off.
that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Okay? But based upon what she's suing for. You said 95.
On the
Now,
average.
what are you backing?
No, I'm saying I'm going by the total. This is their email. This is total balance owed $1,685, and that's for everything. That's here on the email that I got from her.
May I see it?
Yes. So it couldn't even be 19. So it's not that many pair.
So let me see the
at the bottom.
Hold on.
It's in red.
Great.
Yes.
You have the email? Perfect.
At the bottom of the total.
I'd like to, what was totaled, that including...
Don't speak. Balance owed $715 to be paid in full by July 30th from pants you dropped off and left on my driveway on 8/7.
They go all the way down.
Total owed $1,685. Please let me know your intention for payment as soon as possible. Miss Gilmore.
Yes.
I only have one question for you.
Yes.
The question is, after she left, according to your email to her,
yes,
after she left pants on my driveway on August 7th of 2017, did you give her any more pants?
No.
We're done. Thank you.
You are excused. You may step out.
I don't think I agree with that.
I'm really pleased with the decision.
She was charging me the same price as I was a corporate store. I'm an outside vendor.
And I gave her the deal of giving her wholesale on consignment, where my stores do wholesale, but they pay me in full up front.
I won't even go into business. This is my first time and my last time.
These are the pants.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hagen versus Smith. Step forward.
Thomas Hagen is suing his former friend, Melissa Smith, for an unpaid loan.
Miss Hagen, I'm going to start with you. First of all, you picked the wrong profession, because if you have a problem with drinking, you shouldn't be a bar manager.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm taking your scenario. Your scenario is, it was a loan and I was supposed to pay him back in tips, and then I stopped working. Doesn't that sound ridiculous to you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Thomas Hagen says he loaned money to bartender Melissa Smith, and she has yet to pay him back.
Now, what I'm getting from this complaint is that the plaintiff was a frequent patron. You got to be sort of friendly. And then you got at least one DUI. I say at least one. And you had to have installed in your car that mechanism that you have to breathe into or something before the car starts. And it won't start if you've had any alcohol. That's an expensive thing to install. How much was it?
It's about $300.
The plaintiff says that he thought it was much more than that, and he loaned you $2,000. Is that what she told you it was, to put it in the car?
It was for legal expenses as far as fines, reinstatement fees, and...
So it wasn't just to put the ignition locking system?
No, to get her back on her feet legally. Like I said, you had to pay fines, legal costs, court costs.
So how much money did he give you?
$2,000.
And when did he give it to you?
The end of March, March 27th.
Of this year, so?
Yes.
And how were you supposed to pay him back?
The agreement was he was going to take it out of my tips. He was a very, very generous tipper, and he was in 3 to 4 times a week.
And who was keeping track of that?
That was all on him.
To keep track of how much he was supposed to tip you and take it off of the $2,000?
Yes.
Is that your agreement with her?
No, ma'am.
What was your agreement with her?
Was to get back on her feet, which we figured 2 months should be enough time to get with her payment plan. It wasn't.
So you didn't have a payment plan. She needed some time.
It was a verbal agreement.
A verbal agreement for what is what I'm trying to figure out.
For the loan.
No. Mr. Hagan, either you have a written contract or you have a verbal contract. Either one has to have specifics.
Right.
So I want you to tell me what the specifics of the oral agreement were.
On days prior to receiving the check, we were setting my witness will testify to how and what it was supposed to be used for as far as the repayment.
I want you to tell me, you gave her the money. I want you to tell me what the agreement was with regard to repayment.
I was supposed to get a repayment back in July. As through per a text message, I never received that.
Okay, so all the money was supposed to be paid back by July.
Yes.
And you say this was a loan, and it was supposed to be paid back in tips over a period of time, and he was supposed to keep track of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a second. So let's say it was the end of March, so let's say in April. How many times did he come into the bar in April?
I would say at least 15 times a month.
Okay, now, prior to him giving you this money, what would be his average bar bill when he came in?
His average bar bill would be about $26.
Okay. And on a $26 bill, I want you to be very careful. How much would he leave you in a tip? A generous tip would be $5. That's a generous tip. So what would his tip be if he was a generous tipper?
7 to 9.
Let's say he tipped you $7, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he came in how many times a week?
3 to 4.
Okay. Let's say he came in 3 times a week. I'm going to use your figure of 7 as opposed to my generous 5.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, say he came in 3 times a week. So he came in 12 times. That would be $84 in April.
Yes.
Now, in May, how many times did he come in?
Same amount.
Another $84.
Yes.
June.
That is when I left my job.
So you quit your job?
Yes.
Well, so far, at best, you've paid off $160 of this $2,000. How do you expect to pay back the rest?
In the month of May, there were quite a few times he did try to tip me, and I said, no, this is part of the agreement, and he said I needed it more than he did. He was constantly trying to show his money off to all.
Not make excuses. So far, he says she was supposed to pay me back by July. I'm taking your scenario. Your scenario is I was supposed to pay him back in tips. It was a loan, and I was supposed to pay him back in tips, and then I stopped working. Doesn't that sound ridiculous to you?
Yes.
Of course. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. We're done.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, it is what it is.
The judge made the right decision.
I did try to repay him multiple times.
I gave her every opportunity to make some sort of effort to pay in good faith.
I am thankful.
Hopefully, after all this is behind us, we can still be friends.
I was in the house saying, Jasmine, some girls are here to fight.
The danger.
And then you decide to go outside.
I felt threatened. And
if you feel threatened, just stay in your house.
The attack.
It was Jasmine that just straight sucker punched me in my face. And as I fell on the ground, she was on top of me.
Then a mother's revenge.
If somebody did that to my daughter, I might be angry enough to take a sledgehammer to their car.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom. Up is Judge Judy.
Jasmine Huntsman is suing Delashawn Green and her daughter, 21-year-old fiance Brown, for vandalizing her front door and her car.
Order. All rise. This is case number 156 on the calendar in the matter of Huntsman versus Green Brown.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Your last name is?
Green.
And this is your daughter?
Yes.
Ms. Huntsman, according to what I read, the only way you know the defendant, Miss Brown, that would be you, right, is through a cousin of yours?
No, she's my little brother's girlfriend.
Your brother's is or was your brother's girlfriend?
I haven't talked to my brother in months since the situation.
Are you still together with her brother?
We actually talk here and there. We're not like together. We're like friends.
You keep in touch?
Yes.
And on the night of, or the day of April 10th, it is your claim that Miss Green and her daughter came to your house uninvited. You had no idea why. Both of them vandalized your car. Both of them took turns trying to pickaxe your screen door, caused damage to 6 windows, caused you to lose work because the relief that you are requesting is about $5,000.
Yes.
Miss Green and Miss Brown present a totally different picture. They say on the 10th of August, Miss Brown was in your house where you live, where your brother is, and they were having an argument.
Yes. She's never been inside my house.
Shh. She was in your house where you live with your brother, or your brother was there, and they were having an argument. And Miss Green says, because she signed the answer, that you came in the midst of that argument on April 10th and sucker punched her daughter to the extent that she had serious injury and did in fact take her to the hospital that day, filed a police report, and they're counterclaiming. They're counterclaiming for that assault and the fact that you filed a protective order against them, but you never showed up for it. They went and you never showed up. And they are counterclaiming for the same, about $5,000. So it's going to be up to me to make a judgment as to these two stories. They're totally inconsistent. You do understand that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I have witnesses. I never touched her.
Listen to me, right? Now, Miss Huntsman, just so that I understand, you've never met Miss Green.
Yeah, I never met her mother.
You never met her mother. And you only know Miss Brown because she was dating your little brother.
Yes.
And you met her how many times?
Once.
And in the one time that you met her, you had absolutely no falling out with her. There was no discussions. There were no arguments.
No, I met her briefly at a camping trip, told her she had a pretty name.
So neither one of these two people had any grudge against you?
No.
You didn't have any grudge against her prior to April 10th?
No, I don't even know her.
Right. So I'm going to ask a few questions. Miss Green, have you been psychiatrically hospitalized in any way in the last 6 months?
No.
What about you, Miss Brown?
No.
Did either one of you take any psychotropic medication?
No.
Okay. So that you're not crazies and you weren't on some bender on April 10th?
No.
And you say you never went back to her house. Now, this is what I want you to be careful with. What your answer says is that Miss Huntsman on April 10th got in the middle of an argument with your daughter and her boyfriend. And Miss Huntsman sucker punched your daughter and she was injured. You have photographs. I'm sure you have hospital records of that injury.
Yes.
Okay? I have to tell you that law and order and stuff. But if somebody did that to my daughter, I would be very, very angry. I might be angry enough to go to their house and to take a sledgehammer to their car. I might be angry enough, just listen to what I'm saying. I might be angry enough to break in a window. I might be angry enough to destroy a screen door. Do you understand? I might be angry enough because somebody hurt my child to do all of those things. That's a pretty serious motive, right? I just want you to think about that before you say to me, I wasn't there. Do you understand? It's all about the story, what makes sense and what doesn't. Now, Ms. Huntsman, I'm going to ask you the same question. Ever been psychiatrically hospitalized in the last 6 months?
No.
Take any psychotropic drugs?
No.
Can you think of any reason why on April 10th the defendants would come to your house and attack your car? You were the target. Attack your car and try to attack you, actually, through a screen window. Can you think of any reason? Now, we already know they're not crazy, and we already know you're not crazy.
I think she was upset that my brother broke up with her and that she got beat up by my little cousin. And she wanted to...
That's interesting. No, that's interesting. So your little brother broke up with her. That was on April 10th. They were arguing. Were they really loud? Did it get physical or just yelling?
What I saw them yell. I was asleep, and my cousin said, there's some girls here, so...
No. Just slowly. I saw
her getting beat up, and...
You saw who getting beat up?
Her, fiance.
You saw Miss Brown getting beat up in your house?
No, they were in the alleyway, not on the grass or the driveway or nothing.
At your house?
Yeah, not inside, though.
At your house?
Yeah.
And you saw Miss Brown getting beat up, raise your hand, by her name?
Malia.
And where were you?
I was asleep, and then I ran outside, and I tried to break them up.
Okay, so you were sleeping, and you were sleeping with your son.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And you were awakened by what?
By Malia.
How were you awakened by Malia?
She came and knocked on the door, and she said, "It's some girls here to fight me."
So then what happened next?
And then I put on my knee braces. I was recently in a wheelchair, so I had to put my knee braces on. By the time I got outside, they were already...
Tried to break them up?
Yes.
That's not true.
Shh. And then what happened?
And then when the fight broke up, fiance, she just got in a car and she told my brother that she was gonna have some dudes beat him up, and then her and her friend left, and then we went in the house and my brother left.
Well, you left out the part in your complaint of you trying to break them up.
Oh, I tried.
How were you trying to break them up?
Well, I have on knee braces, so I couldn't do much. It was mostly just, can y'all stop? But it wasn't much I could do. And her friend was there.
Well, you could do a lot, because one of the things that you were telling me that you were able to do, because one of the things you're suing for, Miss Huntsman, is your loss of wages, because at the time I was driving for Uber, and due to the damage to my car, I was unable to continue driving for them. So even with the terrible braces you had on your legs and all of that trauma, you were still able to drive for Uber.
I wasn't driving for... My job was to drive for Uber before I was in a wheelchair. I was on disability. I was just able to walk about a month ago and went to sign up for Uber. Again, you got to get your car checked once a year. My car got too many dents in it.
All I say I was driving for Uber.
Yeah, that was my job.
And my car was damaged. Okay, so now gently to separate them. Okay, because first of all, this is your cousin?
Mm-hmm.
She comes in, wakes you up, and says there are some girls here that want to fight me, right? So instead of doing what a normal person would do, which is to go to the phone and call 911 and say to the police, there are some girls here looking to fight me, she runs outside to fight with them. That's what you're telling me. Is that correct? Yes, of course. And then, instead of you, because you have a baby with you, and leg braces, right? Instead of you calling the police and saying there is fighting outside in my alleyway, you went outside to break up the fight. What'd you do with the baby?
My son was in the doorway with his big cousin.
What big cousin?
Her boyfriend was there, too. His name's Wilson. And
her boyfriend was there?
Yeah, it was a lot of people there.
Did her boyfriend go outside to break up the fight?
He tried. We all tried to break them up.
Not true. Just not true at all. Okay, listen to me. I'm going to get the story. Do you understand? Either I'm going to get the story or I'm going to make one up that neither one of you likes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You go in and say to Miss Huntsman, I think these girls are there to fight me.
Yes.
And then you decide to go outside.
Yes.
Why?
I felt threatened.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jasmine Huntsman says Delashawn Green and her daughter, fiancé Brown, vandalized her front door and her car. The defendants are countersuing for vandalism, a false restraining order, and an assault.
Okay, you want to tell me what happened?
So on April 10th, 2017, me and my boyfriend at the time, we got into an argument. And
where were you when you got into
in front of I guess her aunt's house where she was staying at the time.
In front of the house where she was staying?
Yes. He had my phone and wouldn't give it back to me because of our own relationship problems we were arguing about. And I guess I was being loud, and Jasmine and her cousin came outside.
That cousin?
Yeah. She was like, why are you in front of my house being rude and disrespectful? You need to leave. I'm like, I'm just trying to get my phone, and what me and him are arguing about has nothing to do with you. So as I'm going to my trunk of my car, me and my boyfriend at the time are still going at it. He's getting his backpack out my trunk. I feel a body come to the side of my face, the left side of my face, and it was Jasmine that just straight sucker punched me in my face. I was trying to swing back, and as I fell on the ground, she's on top of me, along with her cousin Malia, calling me. And my boyfriend at the time didn't even stop the fight at all.
Oh, he's some
I guess
boyfriend.
He was mad, I don't know.
That's why he's not around now.
They're still talking.
After that, a few days later, he calls about the situation that happened between me and his sister, and we also had made a police report, which the information...
Okay. Carefully. Stand up. April 10th, where were you?
I was in my house.
Is that where she stays?
Yes.
Okay, what were you doing there?
Well, I was in my room, and I hear commotion outside with my cousin and fiance. So I went outside, and they were arguing, and I tried to tell fiance that she just needs to leave the house. So she left, came back with another female and her hair tied up. Seemed like they were finna jump me. They started approaching my front door, and that's when I was in the house saying, Jasmine, some girls are here to fight me.
Okay, so what you're telling me is she left?
Yes.
And she comes back with a friend?
Yes.
A female friend or a male friend?
A female friend.
Doesn't say anything to you, but you go in and say to Miss Huntsman, I think these girls are there to fight me.
Yes.
And you're in the house?
Yes.
And then you decide to go outside?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I probably should have called the police, but I went
if you feel threatened, even if you don't call the police, you stay in your house. Lock the door, you stay in your house. What'd you go outside for?
I just went outside.
Well, did you think that that was bad judgment?
Well, I wanted to see what she came back to my house for.
Well, you already told her what she came back to your house for. She came back to your house to fight you, according to you. That's what you said to her. I think these girls are here to fight me.
Right.
And I don't understand why you would go outside.
Your Honor, I never left.
Just a second.
I never left the house.
Just a second.
Stop lying.
Just a second.
You stop lying.
May I see photographs of her injury, please? May I see the hospital report and the police report?
And Your Honor, the police report is not even correct.
Don't tell me it's not correct. Don't try to explain a piece of evidence that I'm not even looking at. The police department spoke to you, Miss Huntsman.
Yes.
And they spoke to you the day of the incident when you both reported these incidents to the police. Your damage to your car and the defendant, Miss Brown, the assault. You remember speaking to the police officer says you said to the police officer, Huntsman told me she was away from the area at a friend's house and had no idea anything was going on between her brother and Miss Brown.
So as soon as they did all that damage to my car, I took my son to my friend's house. So the officer, when he first got there, he only spoke with her. And then they called me and told me.
The only person that they talked to was her. Then later they came and spoke to you.
Yeah, so maybe he assumed that...
I don't care what he assumed. That's what he wrote.
Okay.
So at no time did you tell the police that it was Miss Brown that damaged your car?
Yes, I did.
I want you to show me that in the police report. You have it. Because the only way that she was identified was the police brought back photos to her.
Yeah.
And showed you a photo ID. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not saying they didn't do it. I'm going to figure out the story. Show me in the police report where it says you said that these two people damaged your car.
It's not in the police report.
It's not in the police report. Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Most people who are normal people want the person who hurt them to be punished. Not the wrong person, the right person. So she could just as easily have sued you. She didn't.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jasmine Huntsman claims Della Shawn Green and her daughter, fiancé Brown, owe for vandalizing her home and car.
The police report is clear. It said she identified the person from a photo array.
She told the officer who it was, and he said, if I bring back a lineup, can you pick her out? And she said, yes, because we only met them at a camping trip once.
I'm asking you,
the camping trip.
You can
where in here, listen to me, I'm asking you where in here, because it looks to me as if you left the house.
As soon as it happened, I took my son away. I did.
As soon as the assault was over, or as soon as the vandalizing was over?
As soon as the vandalism was done.
over. Okay, but you didn't take your son after the assault was over.
I never touched her daughter, and me and my son went back to sleep.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. I don't believe you at all. And I absolutely believe that you vandalized their car. Absolutely, positively.
I never touched her daughter.
Then you keep very, very poor company, because if somebody came to a house looking for a fight and came in and said to me with my baby son there, some people came to fight me, which is what you want me to believe, and she ran outside, and you leave your baby in the house, go outside, and there are guys in the house, her boyfriend, your boyfriend, there are a whole bunch of people there. So you don't have to get involved, but you're getting in between a fight. And it would be very easy for Miss Brown to say that she punched her. Very easy. Did you ever make an accusation? What's your last name?
Gully.
Miss Gully assaulted you?
They both did.
The police report.
Just a second. You made an accusation that they both did.
Yes.
Were you ever arrested?
No.
Okay.
She
Fine.
told the police
well,
only Lolita hit her.
There's no question that you were assaulted. I think you were having a fight with your boyfriend, and I think that they got in your face.
Yes.
That's what I think happened. And
Your
you got
Honor,
hurt.
Only I got in her.
And most people who are normal people want the person who hurt them to be punished. Not the wrong person, the right person. So she could just as easily have sued you. She didn't. She said that she was arguing, but she said she sucker punched her.
Your Honor, that's not true.
She jumped in it.
You weren't there.
Gully.
I was nowhere near her daughter.
And you weren't there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, there's no question that between the two of you, she was injured.
Yeah,
neither one of you were injured.
Fight.
Neither one of you.
Your Honor, I didn't jump in because Jasmine is handicapped.
I even stopped in the fight.
You know I never hit you.
Yes.
Even my.
Just a second.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. I absolutely believe that your car was vandalized, and I absolutely believe that they vandalized your car. And based upon the damage to the car, it's at least $5,000 worth of damage to your car. I absolutely believe you were assaulted. I absolutely believe that she was partially responsible for the assault, and you were injured, and the medical reports suggest that you had a swollen eye and a broken cartilage in your nose, for which I'm awarding you $5,000, which means that neither one of you get anything. Goodbye. We're done.
Please excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It just happened out the blue.
I hope that Jasmine has learned something from this and she just stays far, far away.
It was very unexpected because, I mean, I didn't even fight back.
She seems to be very violent and kind of expected it.
I would hope she wouldn't try to start anything back home.
I'm just glad this is over.
It happened so fast, Your Honor.
That's why we're here.
A battle with her sister's ex sharply escalates.
We got into an altercation. She pulled out a knife out her bosom.
Who did?
Fighting sibling flipped the script.
So your sister told the police that you stabbed the plaintiff. You do know that. She was having surgery because she had been cut in the neck.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Keisha Hedgeman is suing her ex-girlfriend's sister, Neshte Denson, for damages resulting from an assault.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 220 on the calendar and case number 221 in the matter of Hedgeman versus Denson and Denson versus Hedgeman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Hedgeman, the defendant is your ex-girlfriend's sister.
Yes.
And you're twins, is that right?
Correct.
Is your claim that 2 years ago, you and the defendant's sister were in a relationship? That relationship terminated, but at about the time that the relationship terminated, the defendant assaulted you. And you want to be compensated for that assault, which, according to you, ended up in your being hospitalized for a substantial period of time. And at the time you were pregnant, and it put your child at risk.
Yes. May 16th, 2015.
Where?
At the defendant's house.
Were you living in her house, or were you visiting?
I was living there.
With her sister?
With her sister.
The two sisters and you. So the three of you were living in the house?
Yes.
How long had you been living in the house?
I'll say from January to April, and then I left and went to Dallas, and then I came back about a month later. And
you left on vacation, or you left permanently?
I left to move. I moved to Dallas, trying to make a way for myself and just move out.
So at that point, the relationship broke up?
We were still talking. We were still together.
Well, you can't be together if you're in one state and your partner is in another.
We were still talking, you know, texting, communicating. She would come and visit me.
Well, you were communicating, but you had left. When you left the residence in May, you went to what state?
It was in April.
April?
Yes.
What
I went
state?
to Dallas.
Where did you go in Dallas?
I stayed at a hotel.
For how long?
About 2 weeks.
When you came back to Arkansas, where did you go?
With the defendant's sister.
So you renewed your relationship?
Yes.
And that was in?
That's about the beginning of May.
How long had you and the defendant's sister been in a relationship?
Since 2013.
So for a while?
Yes.
And was this pregnancy, because you were pregnant at the time of this assault, that's what I read in the paper. And
we didn't talk about with who, but we did talk about it before I was...
Had you discussed that this was what you were going to do, or was this an unplanned thing?
It was unplanned.
Unplanned?
Unplanned.
Is that one of the things that you fought about?
Yes.
Okay. When you came back in May, tell me what happened on May 16th.
May 15th, the night, about a couple hours before the 16th started, I was at my ex-girlfriend's job at the time until she got off because there was already animosity in the house. And the sister called the police on me.
There was animosity in the house in what regard?
Her sister didn't like me.
So you and the defendant weren't getting along?
Correct.
I'm going to come to you. Listen to me. Tell me why you weren't getting along with her, if you weren't, when she came back from Dallas.
Well, Your Honor, she never stayed in my house.
You mean she never slept in your house?
No.
Ever?
Never.
Well, where did she stay with your sister?
My sister had came, you know, they'll visit, like come for a couple of hours, then leave. There was one time on occasion, and she's standing up here lying.
Just a second. Where did your sister live?
She had her own apartment.
So is what you're telling me that the plaintiff and your sister lived together?
Yeah, in another apartment.
And they always lived in another apartment before May?
Yes.
What happened in May?
I was laying on the in.
They came for a visit, or did they have any property there?
She had a key that my mom gave her. Now Chandra did.
But they had not been living there for 2 weeks before?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so they came to visit. And?
And I asked my sister for the house key because Ms. Hedgeman claimed that I had called the police on her earlier that day, and I didn't have no control of that. I wasn't the one that had called the police. It was my sister. Other friend had called the police.
Why were the police called?
I have no idea, Your Honor.
Okay, so now on May 15th, you're sitting on the couch and?
Now Chandra Denson and Ms. Hedgeman came in.
So the two of them came in?
Yes.
The plaintiff and your sister?
Yes.
Which one is the former girlfriend? That would be you. Okay, go ahead.
Came in and I asked for my house key. And my sister, she didn't want to give me my house key.
Your sister didn't?
Yes. So I called my mom and, you know, asked her, can my sister give me the house key? And Ms. Hedgeman said she's not going to give you nothing. And we got into an altercation, and she said, I got something to hold you. And she pulled out a knife out her bosom.
Who did?
Miss Hedgeman, Kaisha Hedgeman.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Shh, shh, shh.
Yes. Shh.
Whose house is this?
It's my house.
Is it a leased house or an owned house?
Lease.
And the lease is in whose name?
My name.
How long have you lived there?
2 years.
When did you move in?
I have been there
More than 2 years, because this incident happened
Well, it was more than 2 years. About 3.
How long had you been living there on the day of the incident?
About 3 years.
No, then you would have been living there 5 years altogether.
No.
On May 16th, 2015. How long had you been living in that house? And with whom?
My sister.
Which sister?
Malia Denson.
That would be you.
Me.
You.
And May Denson.
So just the two of you were living there together? Is that what I'm listening to?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you had been living there with one other sister, and your mother gave this sister a key to the house.
Yes.
And this sister didn't live there.
No.
She lived someplace else with her girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay. Call your mother and say, tell sister to give me back my key.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister won't give you back your key. I want you to go step by step what happened next.
And then Taisha Hedgeman said, I'm not going to give you nothing. And
well, she didn't have the key.
No, she's not going to give you nothing. She put it in our conversation that had nothing to do with her.
Okay, so you were talking to your sister.
Yes, ma'am.
And the plaintiff said, I'm not going to give you nothing.
Yeah, she's not going to give you nothing. And, you know, I'm...
Now, slowly. Let's get it very slowly, because I'm going to get it from her perspective, too.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give you nothing. And then what happened?
And then we got into an
altercation. Is a fight. That's what an altercation is. It can be either a verbal altercation, verbal altercation, calling each other names, yes. Or it can be a physical altercation. This was which one? Was it a verbal altercation or is it a physical altercation?
Started as a verbal.
Started as a verbal?
Yes, ma'am.
It went from verbal to physical. How did that happen?
Miss Hedgeman pulled out a knife outside from her bosom.
What kind of knife?
It was look like one you can...
Open up?
Yes, ma'am.
How big? I want you to point with your fan.
Like that.
Okay. Well, you keep moving your fan. Let's do it again. So it was a relatively big knife when it was opened?
Yes.
And that's the size when it was opened?
Yes, ma'am.
So she pulled it out and?
And she said, I'm not going to fight you. I got something to hold your big A. And she said, I've been wanting to fight you. And I said, why you want to fight me?
And?
And then she hit me in my face and we got the...
So the next thing that happened was she hit you in the face?
Yes.
And then what happened next?
Then she hit me in my face, and then she kept trying to charge at me with the knife. And
well, what did you do to her when she hit you in the face?
That's when we got the fighting. And
okay, but you left that out. Let's not leave it out.
Okay.
Let's not leave it out. She hit you in the face, and then you got to fighting.
Yes, ma'am.
So you hit her?
I didn't get a chance to hit her.
Well, do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, somebody hits you in the face. I cannot imagine.
Because she had, at the time, she still had the knife in her hands trying to charge at me. And the reason my hand got cut.
I want you to tell me how, you mean she held the knife in her hand, right or left, and with the other hand hit you in the face? If she has a knife in her hand, what hand did she have the knife in?
She had the hand, in her right hand.
Okay. And are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, so she's right-handed. She has a knife in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to tell me.
It happened so fast, Your Honor.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
She has the knife in her right hand. She pulled it out of her breast.
Yes.
How did she punch you?
With her left hand.
Where did she punch you with her left hand? On your face?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what did you do?
Then...
What did you do?
I started bagging up because by that time she had a knife and I was fearful for my life because she is known as stabbing people.
Go ahead. Tell me what happened next.
Then after we got the fighting, I seen Miss Hedgeman cutting herself and I had...
Let's go slowly and don't lose your words. So now you start to physically fight, but so far you haven't told me that you touched her at all.
No, I didn't get... No, I didn't.
Right. So she's fighting with you.
Yes.
And you're just backing up.
Because I'm not a fighter.
And then what happened?
Cutting herself.
Where did she cut herself?
Her neck.
Well, so she took the knife and she stabbed herself in the neck.
Yes.
With the knife.
Yes.
Interesting.
No, she she was like this. She was doing like this.
Oh, she was going like this, cutting across her neck.
Yes, ma'am.
And how many times did she cut across her neck?
I have no idea.
More than once?
Probably. I seen her like one. I guess she got a scar around her neck right there.
Kaisha started cutting herself, and I called the police.
I called the police because when she was charging at me, I was moving my hand. That's how I ended up getting cut on my pinky. And I couldn't feel my finger. So I called the police and told them it was an altercation in Stagecoach. And they told me to go to Baptist Hospital. When I got to Baptist Hospital, then the officer arrived and I gave my statement. And they said the reason they was charging me...
Just a second. May I see your hospital record? So you had a cut on your pinky?
Yes, ma'am.
You had a cut on your pinky and went to the hospital. What happened with the plaintiff? You said she sliced herself across the neck.
Well,
what happened with her?
I have no idea when, because I went to the hospital.
You mean you left her in the house bleeding?
No, she wasn't. It didn't happen inside the house.
Where did it happen?
It happened outside.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me. Now you were outside. How did you get out? Just a second.
We walked.
You were inside. Your sister wouldn't give you the key. Called your mother from inside. Said, give him the key. Didn't give him the key. Then you said she took out a knife from her breast.
When she took
I want to know where that happened.
It happened outside.
Outside. Now I want to know how they got outside.
Yes. When I called my mom, I had walked outside, and they followed me outside.
So this happened in the front lawn?
Yeah, on the sidewalk.
Now, she pulls the knife out on the sidewalk.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're fighting, and your pinky got cut.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I want to know where she was when you went to the hospital.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your girlfriend was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, they said she was just going under surgery.
I assume your sister took the Band-Aid off her pinky.
No, Your Honor, they arrested her at the hospital.
Eventually, she took the Band-Aid off her pinky.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Keisha Hedgeman says her ex-girlfriend's sister, Neshde Denson, stabbed her in the neck during an argument.
Now, she pulls the knife out on the sidewalk.
Yes, ma'am.
And
yes, ma'am. Yes.
I want to know where she was when you went to the hospital.
She was, when I went to the hospital, she was still there. From the witness, she was still there. At Stagecoach.
Outside?
Yes, ma'am.
She's standing up or lying down?
Standing up.
Standing up on what?
On the sidewalk.
Who was with her?
Neshde Denson.
Your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
And your sister, stand up. You took your girlfriend to the hospital?
The ambulance took her to the hospital.
Okay. Who called the ambulance?
I called the ambulance.
You did? And you called the ambulance from outside?
Yes, ma'am.
Was the plaintiff bleeding?
Yes, she was bleeding.
That's why you called an ambulance. From how many wounds, she has records, from how many wounds was she bleeding?
The main one was the neck.
Where was the other one?
They say it was like right here, a minor cut right here.
And when you left to go by ambulance, was your sister already gone?
My sister was already gone. I was waiting there.
Just a second. Your sister was gone. How did she get to the hospital?
A friend that was there at the apartment.
Who was the friend who was there at the apartment?
Her name is Jennifer.
So Jennifer was outside during the fight?
Correct.
And Jennifer, you were treated in an emergency room?
Yes, ma'am.
For the cut on your pinky?
Yes, ma'am.
What was done to the cut on your pinky?
They got blood, and then they bandaged it up.
So they put a Band-Aid on it?
Yes.
On your pinky?
Yes.
No surgery?
No.
No sutures?
No.
They put a Band-Aid on your pinky?
Yes.
When you got your girlfriend to the hospital, did they take her into the emergency room?
They left me there and took her on to the emergency room.
They left you in the waiting room?
No, they left me at the apartment where it had happened at. The police did.
Oh. So you didn't go with your sister? Mm-mm is not an answer.
Ma'am.
No is an answer. Why didn't you go with your sister?
The police wouldn't let me go.
You wanted to go?
Yes.
You were concerned about your girlfriend?
Yes, I was.
Did they tell you what hospital they were taking her to?
Yes, they did.
What hospital did they take her to?
Baptist Health Medical Center.
Did you go there?
Yes, I did.
That night?
Yes, I did.
See, it's like so easy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So your sister told the police that you had stabbed the plaintiff. You do know that?
Yeah, and they said she also changed her story.
She, your sister?
Yes.
Of course she changed her story after they had a fight.
No.
Ridiculous.
Real people. Judge Judy.
Keisha Hedgeman has accused her ex-girlfriend's sister, Neshde Denson, of stabbing her in the neck during an argument.
So you didn't go with your sister? Mm-mm is not an answer.
No, ma'am.
No is an answer. Why didn't you go with your sister?
The police wouldn't let me go.
You wanted to go?
Yes.
You were concerned about your girlfriend?
Yes, I was.
Did they tell you what hospital they were taking her to?
Yes, they did.
What hospital did they take her to?
Baptist Health Medical Center.
Did you go there?
Yes, I did.
That night?
Yes, I did.
You went to the hospital to see your girlfriend?
Yes.
Not to see your sister's pinky?
Exactly.
Right, perfect. And when you got to Baptist Hospital, you found out that your girlfriend was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, they said she was just going under surgery. I didn't know what kind of surgery.
So she was having surgery?
Mm-hmm, correct.
She was having surgery because she had been cut in the neck.
Yes, ma'am.
Twice, at least. Well, once here and once here is 2 times.
Okay, well, yeah.
Right, at least 2 times. And she was going in for surgery. And she remained in the hospital for how long?
I believe it was 30 days.
So she was in the hospital for a month. I assume your sister took the Band-Aid off her pinky.
No.
Actually, she took the Band-Aid off her pinky.
I guess so.
Did you speak to the police?
At the apartment, I did.
At the apartment when?
When it occurred, when it happened.
You mean when your girlfriend got stabbed?
Yes.
Do you have the police report?
I do not.
Who does?
I do, yeah.
I'd like to see it. Why don't you have the police report?
I didn't get it. I was in the hospital for a month, so I didn't.
Well, this happened 2 years ago. You're coming to court now. Now you're suing her for assault. Now you should have a police report.
I didn't feel like, I had to go all the way out there to get it to Arkansas. I stay in Los Angeles.
Well, I'm not going to Arkansas to get the police report. That's your job. Right. You're a litigant. All I want is your write-up. Okay, so your sister told the police that you had stabbed the plaintiff. You do know that?
No, ma'am.
It's in the police report. Want me to read it to you?
Yeah, and they said she also changed her story.
She, your sister?
Yes.
Of course she changed her story after they had a fight.
I don't know. No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Police officers responded to Wilson. That would be you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who said that her girlfriend, Miss Hedgeman, was just stabbed by her sister in the neck and chest. That's what she told the police as soon as they arrived. Police officer said, I did observe the stab wounds as she stated. Miss Hedgeman was transported to Baptist Hospital. A broadcast was made of the suspect, and after talking to Miss Denson again, she changed her story and stated that she did not see who stabbed Miss Denson and stated she was in her vehicle, and all she saw was Miss Hedgeman fall to the ground. She said she did not want to give any statements due to the fact that she did not see anything. Ridiculous. Okay, now I'm going to come back to you. Got the picture. Now, there's no question you were in the house with your girlfriend. What were you doing with a knife? Go ahead.
A knife wasn't in my bra. That was a lie, first of all.
What were you doing with a knife?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.